This broadcast is inappropriate for all ages, right here on Jam on Toast. This is the Watch Spot. I am Kamurai, here to talk to you about movies, or not movies per se. I that segment's not coming back for a while. But TV and such. That's such good timing, Dryer. That we've been watching this week. Let's go ahead and jump into it. I am short on time, and life is busy. So, Two Broke Girls. They are pursuing the success route again. Um, the whole movie deal, like, we're not pursuing on that storyline. I guess they didn't want to continue on with California as a jumping point, but they brought Zach to New York, or is that his name? The boyfriend for Max. So she's in a positive upswing. Caroline's kind of in a business positive upswing because she's using the money that she got from the movie to put it into the dessert bar to try to make that a thing. And realizing that they had the opportunity to make a bakery at some point before and failed. We're building, we're building, and I'm wanting to see where this is going to go. If we're actually going to go to a happy ending in the season, or if we're going to have another bubble burst. Because I'm willing to bet that the show is going to continue on until Sophie has the baby. So they're starting construction for the dessert bar, that back area, whatnot. That I'm really confused why the diner doesn't use it, but like people are supposed to be coming in too. So is the window going to turn into a door? Like, I want to see the blueprints for the dessert bar, and of course someone else needed to, because as soon as Zach looks at it, he notices that there's 10 inches between the the counter and the wall. Which, if that's the case, how does anything else fit in there? It doesn't take a genius to realize that. So, like, it's a bad premise, but it let them start involving the neighbors of the pizza place, and so there's a nice storyline going on there with them trying to negotiate over everything happening. And, like, being that it started like, we're gonna sue you for damages, and granted, and looking at everything going on, it's like these comedy writers have never seen actual construction before, because there's nothing happening that would cause all that crazy banging. It's ridiculous. But we're going to see a change in set, and I think maybe they just really needed an episode to jumpstart that, and that's what we've got going on. So there's very little relationship mumbo jumbo going on. It's very much focused on trying to get this to happen. And okay, so the relationship mumbo jumbo that they put in is Zach. I keep saying Zach. I don't think that's his name. Zach trying to pretend to sway somebody, or the pizza lady's favor over it, and then Max and her get into it because it's his man, it's her man, and she's not used to saying that. So there, we do have that angle. For whatever reason, I have two new girls that I watched. Jess, we had the one where Jess is trying to finish CC's wedding dress the entire time and can't seem to do it, and all they end up doing is turning inside out. Really, it took you that long to figure that out? Just seam ripping the jewel mirror things that are just awful on there. What it should have been enough. I don't get that. And even if it tore up the fabric a little bit, you could just layer something nice over it, like a lattice lace or something. It's not crazy bad. And then in the process, we get Schmidt fired. That was nice. Or now he's demoted, is what it came down to. That's right. And I don't know if that's going to affect storyline at all, because he's still hated. And I'm not sure. I don't know. It's weird. He's in a weird job. The fact that he was able to not work as much as he did, it was amazing. Oh, then Winston and Allie start dealing with dating and working, especially since they're police officers, and it's a very important thing. They've got to switch up partners again because they can't be trusted not to just bang on shift, I guess. The other episode is Sam's birthday. Sam's a fucking douchey character, anyways. But like Winston gets him a bird shirt, and he gets all weird with Sam and scares him a little bit. Nick ends up scaring off Schmidt's father, who's trying to be back and involved, but he's just naturally aloof because he's a dick. But like I feel like there's setup episodes that just aren't going to go anywhere because they don't do setup episodes very well on here. The fact that they're stringing along together the wedding story, I'm very impressed, and that'll be a big moment in the show, of course. Um, Big Bang Theory, Penny and Leonard's mom bond, or do they? It's funny. It's a very passive aggressive relationship those two have. But we do another thing where it's girls' night, guys' night, and I wish we had the two shows because it makes so much more sense at this point that they would just be two separate shows. And they do this thing where Stewart's hired to stand in lines and courier messages back and forth, which is stupid because we have phones. But at least Stewart gets something to do. Because I like that character being involved. I wish he was around more. And for whatever reason, our B storyline here is debating the philosophical rights of holding a place in line for the movies, or in lines in general versus cutsies. I guess it's swapsies versus cutsies. Is that Sheldon said? Odd Couple, for whatever reason, again, I had two episodes. Maybe it's just the way I was watching them before, and now we're finally on track. Um, it's really interesting to see Oscar because he's very much kind of the playboy character out of the, at least out of the two. But we've hit all these things about him getting older and slightly more mature. And so we're finding that middle ground between the two polarizing characters, and that's nice that we've got that going on. So he and the I don't know when it happened, but he and the lady friend from upstairs that it was the nanny's boss that he was used to dating, start getting along, and she's nervous about getting it on with him, and he's eager, and then like they both go and talk to people, and then she gets a confident boost and goes after him a little bit more. He gains an unnatural amount of respect and restraint in the process. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go slow when you need to go slow, but you shouldn't necessarily fight off the situation either. Like, do what feels natural and good for both of you. So it's this great moral debate about whether to go slow or fast, and for the life of me, I can't remember what Emily and Felix were up to, and I typically like them more. But the next episode is very much shifted in their favor. The A storyline there is definitely that Emily's mom is in town, and it's this whole thing where Emily has all these self-esteem issues, and she wants to be impress mom and say, "Hey, I'm doing this, this, and this," and she can't do these things because she doesn't feel like she's in those places. And of course, and I'm not sure why it would ever happen that way. It's just because they're goofy characters, I guess. Um, Felix dances out naked in front of her mom on Skype. Sorry, actually, it really is a funny scenario. Um, so like that's how they started that out, and then it becomes this whole thing about Felix or Emily trying to use Felix to impress her mom. When Felix is the rather gathered one, at least present as a presentation factor, where Oscar is um, the slob in presentation, but happens to be able to get things done. So like, and then okay, and then our B storyline is with Oscar this time. Danny's moving in on his radio show. He actually gets punched, or not punched out, but injured or whatnot on the job, and then Danny steps in to fill in for him. She gets good ratings, and she starts getting a part on the show. So we're actually seeing solid growth there this season already with the Odd Couple. That they're promoting this extra segment on Oscar's show, which is now going to be part of the show and going to be a power shift in the dynamics. So Danny's no longer just the underling; she has actually moved up to semi-partner. Um, and you can argue against that if you like, but they're definitely giving a nod to the Howard Stern show there. Howard Stern has a not underling, but I don't know. I can't say she's a full partner, but the show would definitely be different without her, and I don't think Howard would want to do the show without her. She and from what I used to listen, she did an excellent job. She's not just there for reasons. Like it actually works. The dynamic's great, and Howard knows what he's doing with the show. And I think they're trying to allude to that too. That Oscar knows what he's doing with the show. It's why he's as popular as he is. Uh, but maybe adding a little bit something extra to it will get him to number one. And we're going to see that storyline proceed. Over in Silicon Valley, this is this has almost been kind of a train wreck at the beginning of the thing. Not as the show, but for the storyline for our characters. It's just shitstorm after shitstorm after shitstorm with all the changes, and it's fantastic that like the financial backers want to back the technology. It's the why they got the company in the first place. Um, I don't understand this comes from someone in the industry, but I don't understand why you would take something like unique and wonderful and then try to make it look like everything else. No, you, you've got to have innovative companies that show people things they didn't know they wanted. Uh, VR, as much as it's been talked about in science fiction and everything, there are so many people who don't know that that experience is what something or that there's so many people that don't know that that experience is something they wanted until they get it, and this is the same thing. They're bleeding out the edge that they had in innovative technology by trying to package it as anything else. Um, man, let's see. Okay, HBO Now is great because it actually has a full thing, and I copied and pasted it because I was in a rush. Um, like the whole thing with Dinesh's thing, like that's not really important. It's a jokes. There's good jokes. It's a good comedy show. Um, but the whole point is that they now have like a Skunkworks plot going on where they're going to do a thing and a thing, but that was the key thing that was going to make the show interesting. And now I don't know if they're doing it because they got outed, which is horseshit. But I think maybe that's the funny bit is that now they have to do it, no, like with them knowing that it's actually a thing. Um, Last time on Earth, the big thing there is that they think that Phil's brother might have the virus, so they're starting to quarantine him, wear hazmat suits. Turns out the cow's dead, but the calf's fine. Didn't remember we had a calf, but okay. Over in Crowded, that's literally it. Over in Crowded, so there's this whole like thing about when do you call someone that you like on both ends. It's no longer just the guy having to call the girl because like that's traditionally that's how it is. The guy is supposed to pursue the girl, so it's the guy's responsibility to call either the next day or in 3 days or whenever you are supposed to do things. And if you do it in one day, it's desperate. But if both of you want to talk to each other the next day, talk to each other. It's a ridiculous rule. And seeing Shay be the one dealing with the relationship stuff, I like because Stella's kind of the relationship hoe bag out of the two of them. And I didn't mean that in a disrespectful way. It's just she's more socially active. But I like Shay so much more as a character, not just because she's the good one, but because she's borderline atypical. She's the intelligent one. Not that Stella doesn't have her moments, but um, it's the one I want to see. And with a PhD in the areas that she has, she should be able to find work much faster than Stella, who's actually finding work in different, possibly unconventional ways, such as drug trafficking and camgirling. Like, I respect that she's getting somewhere, but the amount of money that I know you can make for that, they should be making rent hand over fist. So like the basis for the show is starting to fall apart. So I don't know if this is going to last more than a season, and I actually want it to because it's pretty interesting. And regardless of it not being like, I don't know, I don't know how you say it. I don't like every single character, but I like how they interact for sure. Um, let's see, did I miss anything? Oh yeah, there was the big contention about over the favorite daughters, and then oh yeah, the wife character went with his dad to the gun range, which was a nice little bonding moment. So you could see that see that you could explore avenues of characters that don't normally interact on their own. We're seeing them do that in Big Bang now, just because they're running out of stuff, which is actually a bad sign for this show. But being that it's so early, it might be setups for later. So if you get those interactions out of the way, then you set precedent for how those characters interact later. Um, over at Mom, Christy and Bonnie physically fight. Violet is getting married, so she's shopping for a wedding dress. It's really the running theme of the show for this week. Over the Real O'Neills, Kenny and his brother switch places at this weird little Christian weekend retreat. It's 2 days, 2 nights, 2 days. I'm not sure why, but they have it. This looks like a summer camp thing. It's what it really should be. I'm sure they do summer camp too. But like Kenny's the good kid who wants to be in charge and run things and organize things, and his brother's the fuck up prankster god. So we end up in this juxtaposition where the prankster guy gets put in the position of authority and tries to wrangle in everybody else, and then we see Kenny rebel and fill the void. And then his sister spends the whole time trying to get kissed, which is awkward enough for us since we're supposed to be relating to the main character. I guess I don't know. I really didn't care. It's a very awkward look into the inner dynamics, and this is a show. This is an episode rather where it seems like this is a setup for a couple other things later. It's such a it feels like a unique show, and it feels like it's so early that we're really setting precedents for things. Fresh off of the boat, Jessica's squatting law students. I don't remember or care about anything else going on. The fact that Scagliola, she's in Stitchers, she was in Warehouse 13, shows up as a squatting law student. I think that is one of the best plots they could have injected into this real estate line ever. I'm really happy with that. Over on Grandfather, this feels like a sad episode, but a filler episode nonetheless. They kind of have like this fake memorial for his dad. They spend the whole time trying to remember all the stupid shit Jimmy says. And I think Jimmy really had to, just was dealing with so many emotions and just we're showing like I don't know if we're trying to show how much of a voided character he is emotionally, or just how conflicted he was. I don't know. It was kind of a weird episode. I'm looking forward to seeing it get back on track. And after seeing that after a break, it's like, oh, come on. Over the middle, we had Not Mother's Day and the theme of paying it forward. Oh my god, what a cringe-worthy episode. Oh, man. Seeing someone trying to do something nice, not stop themselves when obviously it was too much. Ugh, ugh. And then if someone offers to pay for your groceries, oh my god, don't call over someone with another full cart. Especially when you don't have a lot. That's the whole basis for the show, so they don't have a lot. Bob's Burgers. I don't know. This show is written really well, and I like how they do things, but this was kind of a weird episode. I don't know. This seems like a whole week of people just putting in filler stuff. There's a boy band that they like. Just pretend it's New Kids on the Block or NSYNC or Backstreet Boys, whatever. And then one of them goes off to single, like we see all these other bands do. And so, like, the fan club ends up getting split up, and of course Luis likes Boo, the guy who Boo Boo split off from everything. So like this whole phenomenon happens through social media called Boo Crew, and they spend the whole time trying to get win a contest to meet Boo and ride roller coasters with them. And the fan club who's mad at Boo comes up with the Spoo Crew plot, which I thought was fantastic. They falsified everything to win the contest so they could throw up on Boo. And I thought that was fantastic. Modern Family was all about promposals. It was really kind of sweet and nice because you see Mitch and Cameron relive like kind of a glory moment of things, and then Mitch is helping. It's actually really lackluster now that I think about it. Mitch is helping Luke, I think that's his name, and then Manny just kind of gets asked, which I thought was neat. Um, can't remember anything going on with anyone else. There's too many storylines going on in those shows. I like how well they do it, but it's hard to recall for this. I need to start taking notes closer to when I watch things. Family Guy's back. Tom is on the verge of being ousted by a new anchor, so they spend the whole time trying to make him new and hip and getting him fired. It's a typical Family Guy formula of everything is horrible, and then of course we have Brian scamming on a girl, which I feel like they're trying to make him Barney Stinson, and it's never going to happen. DC Legends tomorrow, they finally get Vandal Savage presented to the Time Council. And it's revealed that he's in charge of it all. Just kill the villains! It's ridiculous. Especially on a TV show that is doing that from time to time. In the comic book worlds that are happening on TV, they are writing it like TV shows. They are writing it like movies and not comics. Where they're offing these guys permanently, they're locking them away permanently, they're killing heroes, and then the one or two times that it makes sense to do it, they don't do it. I don't understand. I don't understand what the motivation is. If you're going to write a comic book show, take the comic and put it into the show, and then leave it like that, or make it a whole new thing. And if you have to use the same names from the comic, great. But just make a new thing as a nod to. Once Upon a Time, things got really interesting here. I feel like we're at the end of the season. But Once Upon a Time usually has like 3 endings to their season. It's not even individual story arcs. It's one story arc that ends 3 times. It's really odd. So we've hit at least the first one, if not the second one. Yeah, it's got to be the first one. I can't remember where the season started, because I think the first ending was when they go to the underworld, and the second ending is when they come out of the underworld. And that's what happened. Everyone's out somehow, one way or another. And then they're trying to fight Hades. Hades has finally repaired some crystal thing that can kill gods and everything, and he wants to just remove anything that's an obstacle to whatever he wants. And for whatever reason, what he wants includes Zelina, but not any of her feelings about how she feels about anything. So, in an epic face-off, Hades manages to kill Robin. And not just kill him, erase him from the resurrection cycle. Like, we see a moment like where he's all Star Wars spirit, and then he's gone, and the explanation given is that he will not go to the underworld, he will not move on, he will not pass go, he's just erased from that point. Then of course we have Zelina. She's gonna be so broken at this point. Spoilers, she has to kill him. And then we end up with this huge scene where Rumple digs in the ash of the god and pulls out what remains of the crystal. So now Rumple has ways to zap people away. Because that's what he does. And for whatever reason, Hook is returned by Zeus. Which is really weird that that's the way they chose to go there. Is that the ultimate heaven and hell scenario is Zeus, or maybe maybe this is it. Maybe the underworld is a stopping point on the way, Like you pass through the underworld on your way to the other places, or to the fiery dooms of hell or whatever, and then Olympia is like on the way to heaven. Maybe that's what it is. I really feel like we're going to hit like a point where they've got to go biblical, and they've just got to understand like that they're ruled by this or that. But of course, these are all mythical creatures or mythical people from a land, from another universe or another dimension or universe of magic or whatnot. So they would have different rules where it's concerned than we would. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense now I said it out loud. Over on the Flash, Zoom brings the war to Earth One and brings Rupture, the Cisco's Earth Earth Two brother, who actually looks really cool and it feels like he has a cool power set. But I'm not sure what his power actually was, but because it required a tool. Um, but apparently he's not a very good villain. He's just very upset about his brother dying. So Zoom ends up offing him. But the whole point is that he brings Caitlin with him, and there's this now living contention between Zoom and Caitlin, and he is starting to get very fed up with her resistance. So I don't know if he's going to just start offing people she cares about, or if she's actually in danger herself. Uh, so we're going to see. I'm hoping that we get Flash's powers back soon, because based on what Kevin Smith was saying, he directed a couple episodes coming up where the Flash had his power. Or maybe he was just saying that to mislead everyone. Ooh. Over in Elementary, the war between, I'll call him the Hand because I don't remember his fucking name, and Moreland continues. And this is not so much a filler episode. Well, as a filler episode, as a setup episode. Because the show's been waffling a little bit with this whole organization at play. Anew. Uh, it's been very strange. And instead of having a war, having the United Front is a better option. And that's definitely the way that they end up going. Life of me, I can't remember the crime that happened for this. And that lately has not been the more interesting of the plots. But they're investigating the professor, and we'll go ahead and spoil the end now because it's actually a big part of what happened. So the professor ends up being killed, and Moreland takes his place on top of the throne. His intention being to dismantle it from within at the helm, and ceasing operations in New York, so that, especially per Moriarty's mandate, not request, that Joan and Sherlock not be touched. So there's that. Over on Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., S.H.I.E.L.D.'s pursuing Hive. There's interference from, I'm going to call them bounty hunters because I don't know what their actual job is, but they're Kree, and I don't understand how Kree biology works because it seems that like most Kree are blue, but there are exceptions. And like I'm talking about the comics too, and then, like these Kree are like huge, bulky creatures that are supposed to be fast, but they're not very quick, like responsively. Because Hive is able to just kind of dance around them. It's very awkward to see like a third party intervene and not be very helpful at all. But it comes down to Daisy offering her blood towards the Kree experiment, which I don't know what we're going to call it now that we're doing a Terran equivalent of the Kree experiment, because the Kree experiment is what resulted in Hive, and I think supposedly in humans, but we're just going to have to see. Stitchers. It was really neat. I never want to see it again, but they investigated a group of lawyers who were all a bunch of dickbags. I really want it to be that if you are not fully cooperative, it is a sign of guilt. Because that's how it is in reality. It's like, this is what I need from you. If I don't get this, then I'm just going to assume that you're guilty, and we're going to add that to the reports, if you will. just dumb. But finally, Kirsten finds out about Camille and Liam, and dealing with all her new feelings, it's not good. Camille should have been pulled from the case at this point, and I don't know where they're going to go from it. Oh, yes, Kirsten decided to take her place, which I don't know how they're going to make that happen. Other than they know that Liam is being told to get a position where he can get intel on the team, and so now we're going to enter this weird period where it's like, I know you're a double agent, and I know you're a double agent, but we're going to keep going. So we're getting like my CIA fix out of that. Over in Supernatural, we're finally seeing Amara come back into the picture bit by bit, sending that infection fog into another small town, which I'm not sure what she thinks that'll accomplish other than drawing out the Winchesters. Which is interesting, but I don't think it's enough to do that. She's got to do something on bigger scales. And then we show up with God. And spoilers, it's Chuck. Chuck's a dick. Or God's a dick, because he pretended to be Chuck for so long. Which is really fucked up because he had an archangel watching himself. I don't know. Maybe he's inhabiting the body just like anybody else. Which reminds me that Amara actually erased a baby. Like, she pushed down and out of a personality of a child. Ugh. But yeah, so he brings in the Metatron, the voice, if you will, to be his editor for him writing his memoirs. And I don't know who the fuck's gonna read his memoirs. Oh. Oh, maybe that's the question you're supposed to ask. Because if he's writing memoirs, an autobiography, if you will, normally that's for after you're gone. So maybe he's planning on sacrificing himself to Amara to save everyone else. That could be the point of him ignoring Amara at this point and focusing on this. So we'll have to see. Interesting. Or maybe he's going to lock both of them away. That could be something. Over in Arrow, Dark's taking control bit by bit. Seeing him fuck over that council was really nice. I don't know. One lady running away, that was really funny because it's like, what are you doing? And then he just snapped her neck. And it got a little less funny. And there's the whole thing about Diggle going after Andy, and I can't remember if he actually killed him or not. But you just gotta put him down at some point. Over in Castle, really fun watching Castle think of demons after him and people the whole time. And given the evidence presented in the show, we have nothing to say that wasn't the case. So funny, like, that all these things lined up. I almost want to see, like, Constantine come on the scene. Just something to continue that thread. Because I'm willing to bet that this other character, the Antichrist character, is going to show up from time to time in the future. Maybe even trying to see if Castle wants to call in his favor. Because the end scenario is that Castle has a standing favor with the devil. He never did get to play Naked Twister, so maybe that's what he'll use it on. We won't get to see it, but that's fine. Nathan Fillion playing Naked Twister. That would get a lot of views. I'm just saying that. Finally, over to the show that is unlike any other show, The 100. Allie brings the fight to Luna. Like, Luna's about ready to kick all these Outlanders out, get them out of there, and, oh my gosh, quick infection. I watched the show, I went back to see who the main infector was, and it was like one of her lieutenants. I really have no idea how the chip got to him, unless they ambushed like him while he was scouting, and got him, and then gave him the orders to go back to it. Because Luna was very much, no, we're gonna sit here. They'll never find us. They'll never find us. And it's partly Clark's fault, but now that she found him, it's time to fight back. It's gotta be. And Luna's actually kind of a badass. I like that she's still on practice. Um, so hopefully we're gonna see Luna take the flame, and we'll see finally some fight going back to Allie. Because as beautiful as Erica Sierra is, Sarah, Erica Sarah. Wow. Okay. Um, I'm trying my best to root against her, just because it's not the way I want AI to happen. Infecting humans, ugh. Um, so, and I was so happy because like despite the stuff going on the rig, there's like these simultaneous attacks going on in Alley. There's the backdoor attack that Raven was pursuing. There was the physical assault on the backpack from the small amount of resistance that managed to go through. The fact that the escape prisoners got chipped so fast, that was disappointing. In its whole entirety. Oh God, I hope you can't hear that. There we go. The I cannot believe that like they would present it as going in that quick, um, and they immediately turn those prisoners against uh, the bloody resistance. It's horrible, horrible that we're seeing that, but there's obviously a migration happening, and it really came down. If they hadn't done it this quickly, if Raven hadn't pushed when she wasn't supposed to, they never would have got as far as they did against her. But now that Allie is in space on, I don't know what. There's a second arc. Is that what it was? Because it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But we'll just have to see. I don't know, but she's on a space station, and I don't know if that means that she has satellite projection capability, so she can project down to everybody. And I don't not sure how they're going to go back up unless they're going through the shuttle pod, which was not scrapped, so that signal is still strong. Um, like I could really use a map of how everything's going on, or where Polis is on Earth. Like there's so many things I would actually like to see mapped out so that I could tell exactly what was happening. Um, I mean, like where the lighthouse is compared to everything, because they crossed like some big desert, and the topography is not going to be the same as now. But oh, so I'm really looking forward to the end of the season, not because I want it over, but because I want to see where it goes. Speaking of where it goes, over in Game of Thrones, oh man, I cannot see a more popular show right now. I like that Arya's blind. It's really kind of a weird thing, but she continues her training to be no one, and that's got to end pretty quick. There, they can't keep her blind forever. Um, Daenerys finally makes it to the shrine of the broken women. I cannot wait till her dragons get there and fuck everything up. Because she's going to leave that place if she just waits. That's been the pattern with her. It's uh, like she puts a big front, she gets her ass kicked, time goes by, and she gets pulled out of the situation. She's very much a I'm destined to do this character, and not that I'm going to make this happen type character. It's just what it is. Um, so, meh. Daenerys will get there. Bran's spending too much time in the past. We're getting bits and pieces. And what we really need is information on his aunt, because that's the one character that everyone has brought up that we have next to no information on. So hopefully we'll get more information through that in the next few episodes, and we'll see that. Tommen actually braves up and goes and confronts the High Sparrow. It's not the bloodbath I want, but we're at least seeing him stand up. And of course, the High Sparrow talks down to him. He treats him like a child because he is, but he's also the king and he's not being respected as such. The High Sparrow is seeing the king as an equal or a lesser, and definitely not a greater. So we have so many problems. Cersei fucked over everything, trying to militarize them. That stupid, stupid bitch. The small council is not enjoying the company of the Lannisters themselves, or at least Cersei and Jaime. So there's them trying to rally on their own. They've got Sir Gregor. They've got the Necromancer who's taking over Ferris's little birds. So they've got things in motion. It's just a question of whether or not it's going to be enough. Ramsay is starting to gain alliances in the north, partnerships, if you will, uh, very contentious ones. With all the things going on in Castle Black, Jon Snow coming back to life and then being a dick at the end of the episode. I'm hoping that's temporary, but rallying with the wildlings and everything, I'm hoping to see that we get a united front of up in the way north at the wall. Then when Bolton goes against things for to keep the north, we're going to see the Greyjoys come into play. Who's the other group? The guy responsible for the Red Wedding is dead, so his brother's in charge now. So we're going to see that group come into play, and I don't know if he's siding with the Boltons or not. So we're going to see them and the Greyjoys and the Boltons, and then what's left of the Starks, all kind of fight in the north. They've got the shit at the wall. So in order for the fight at the wall to go well at all, they've either got to come south and unite, or there's going to be another big fight, and then they're gonna rally. Meanwhile, Dorne's ready to go to war with the middle, if you will. The Erie's still kind of fucking off by itself, I think, but King's Landing is definitely ripe for a civil war in its own. Not going to be able to handle that plus Dorne, and it's just ignoring the North at this point. Let's be honest. Over in Marine, so many things going on. Over in Marine, Varys is finally getting answers, and they're getting ready to resolve their civil war. All that they really need is Daenerys at the helm at this point, and a few dragons wouldn't hurt. Oh my gosh, I really want the twin dragons to be set loose and go find mommy. I think that's the way we've got to go, and maybe next episode's the way we're going to get it. Um, like I said, life is busy, so I can't spend a lot of time past this. That's really all we got. Thank you for watching or listening and ingesting this however you do. Until you see me next time, I am Kamurai. Have a nice day. If you want to see anything else we're up to, go ahead and click the annotations, and they'll take you to our other channels. Thanks for watching.